Good night, guys. Let's start with the futures for S&P 500. So we open up 525 up. The level that it needs to hold is 2950. So far we are hanging there. And then the level that needs to break is this previous high. So it needs to reclaim the previous high, which is around 2960. Let's see. Let's check gold. So somebody asked me in the asking the chat why gold why gold sold off. It was because it hit the quarterly pivot. So it hit the quarterly pivot as a normal rejection. It came down to this cluster and bounced back, and it retested again. It couldn't hold. So right now you need to hold the you need to break and hold this. So okay, so what it did, this is what we checked last Sunday. It worked perfectly. It was here. We count that was going to bounce, and then it need to do it something like this, and it did very well. Now we need to break and hold. The downside line in the sand will be the yearly pivot at 1380.40. Now let's check natural gas. So natural gas is still on a bear formation. It needs to hold above 220 to break that pattern. Maybe do a retest on these higher levels here, but it has been rejecting this 222. So if it gets here and hold, then we do a higher low, and then we can have a chance of a reversal from here. If you can't reclaim, then we're gonna go down to test these lower levels first. Now, as you can see, I have a few alerts set if it goes down there to these key levels over here. So the first thing it needs to do is break and hold this 222.2, and then break the quarterly pivot. Let me check. Break this 2.237. Now the dotted lines here, these ones that are marked manually, those are previous key level pivots from way back when it was trading down there, and everything here is a cluster. So this is an entire zone over here, but we are counting this month, this quarter pivot as the key level, right? So we have bottom and top zone, but the key level will be this quarter's pivot. Okay. Let's check oil. So this trade we called over here, we called there was going to have a rejection on this pivot. Then we bounced back. We could have reloaded at the same level and then push. And now we reclaim this monthly main pivot 56.79, and we retested and hold. And as you can see, I have a price alert to tell me if it gets to this next key resistance zone, which is 58.14, 58.48, which I'm expecting to have some sort of resistance there. And from there, we're gonna see if we can hold. So right now it's looking like a ascending wedge or something like that. So we'll see. The downside line in the sand is going to be the 56.79, and the upside is going to be this zone here. Now, silver so far is almost like this is almost, if we can, it's almost like my favorite short setup. Push it through, and then it can't break above it, and then it goes like this. Now, this is still early to know, so we'll know tomorrow morning if it can reclaim this here. Downside, this is going to be a simple downside line in the sand is going to be 15.337, and upside line in the sand 15.417. Now let me check the requests. Let's start with UNH. So UNH is on this strong resistance right here. And what happened is that we finally pushed through this quarterly pivot. We couldn't do here, couldn't do here, we couldn't do here, but we pushed through, and now we need to prove this is a support. So it needs to hold the back test and push through, or push through from here and hold this back test to go higher. Me. So for Monday, that's going to be the key levels. You can include, so 251.42, 252.93 is the key upside zone right here. And you have a strong support at 248.51, but what I would really like to see was a hold no lower than here, 250.31, 250, let me get you the exact number. One second. One second, bear with me a little bit. Just want to find the right number here. Yeah, 300 is fine. So no lower than 250.31, 250.80 would be my preferable level. But if we dip to 248.51, is still valid, the setup. What you have to keep in mind though is that once we bounce from here, this now is going to be strong resistance. That's why if you are long on it, it'll be better if it can just bounce from here or bounce from here like we talk about. But still, this is still a strong support. One second. Let's check NOK. NOK. So this is a Dave play. He called this for swing play. He has also $1 calls, and he has also on shares, I believe. We bounced it off this support level here, reclaimed, confirmed, bounced, then bounced from here, reclaimed, and went up. So what it needs to happen is the break of this level here, Monday. As you can see, it's here, 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 and here. Let me see. This is last year's. This is last year's yearly pivot. Let's mark that. And let's mark this zone here too. So once we break and hold here, we're gonna have some resistance over here, and then at the quarterly pivot. Let's see. So expect some resistance from the 524 to 530, but the key level is 530. This is, we can do like a little bit like this and then go, but the key resistance is going to be 530 and 536. Once it clears that, oh, I'm looking at the wrong one, am I? 1 second. No, yeah, that's not Dave's call. Dave's call is NAK. I can check that later too. I apologize for that. So once it clears this 530, 536, the next level you need to worry about is the 545. Now, so for Monday, we need to hold this area here. The 514, 516 on the week needs to hold above 510, and then we can see a push through. So as you can see, reject 1, 2, 3, 4, but it closed strong. This is a 4-hour strong close here. So it ran out of time. We didn't know if it's going to reject one more time or just push through. So there's something to watch. Is it going to gap up? If you gap up, you need to hold this level here to push more. If you just open it like here, maybe we see a dip to this area, then it needs to hold to push through. Okay. Let's check AXSM. I think this is, let me check real quick if this is all-time high. Yeah. Yeah, this is all-time high over here. Okay, so what happened here is that we reject the yearly pivot on this first try, and then we did a lower high on the quarterly pivot. So usually this will be a bearish formation for me on a long term, but if we can keep holding, doing higher lows here, it may squeeze up. So that's what you have to watch. If I were you, I would really not like to go lower then maybe here. Let me mark with the price tool. So if we can hold above here, then it will be very nice. Let me check. I don't know why this keep moving, but the key resistance is going to be 25.46. The downside line in the sand is going to be here, this zone 22.17, 22.61. Let me see your entry again. 23.73 Friday. So you enter right on over here on this trend bounce. So yeah, so it needs first to break this quarterly pivot 25.46, hold it as support, and then push through this yearly pivot. Now let's see. That's funny because the main weekly pivot is 23.87 and the level we marked is 23.85. So I'm gonna remove this because we don't need it. We have I'll leave it there, but we have the main weekly pivot at the same area. So it needs to hold above this for a push through, which is 24.30, 24.36. So if we have a first rejection, it really needs to hold. It really needs to hold over here. And then we can see a push like that. If it gaps up, then it needs to hold the pullback, and then we can see the push through. And keep an eye on that key level over there. Now next, HUM. That was a strong close over there. So we have to keep an eye on this zone here. I marked this last month's main pivot and this pivot here from not last month, the previous April. And I'm marking March pivot. So that's going to create a little resistance zone over here. And it's funny that it rejected the first touch. And the key resistance is going to be those pivots over here, which is to 79.04 to 79.53. I want to mark this previous pivot too, which I kind of didn't have to, but it's going to be a 51-cent zone, key support zone over there. Okay. So you have the main weekly here at 264.30, right above that key support zone. So that's going to provide even more support. The main day level for Monday is going to be 267.13. So we close over here. If we have a pushback, we want this to hold, and then we can try it again. Once you break, it needs to hold the support, something like this. And then the next would be that 277.79. Now, if it breaks here, you don't want to be on it anymore, in my opinion. If it breaks this 262, it's probably not ideal anymore for you. Once we break this zone, then we're gonna test it 285. Next, let's check CGC. That is looking a little bit bearish. And this is the downside right here, below 39.66, which was this previous month pivot. This was a zone, and today is continuing to be a zone now. So that's the downside line in the sand. We already broke the quarterly pivot, which is a great sign for the shorts. It's funny how we, just perfect how we see that we did this, then it came right here, and then we did. That was a perfect prediction. Now, let me remove this. We reject here, which is a great sign too. But as long as we stay above this, we still can bounce. Next month's 4090 is the main pivot, so that's going to be interesting. So right now, it needs either to break, retest, and go, or retest, reject, and go. Although I already did that. If you see here, it came here, retest, reject, and went down. So now we just need to complete the last part of this bearish formation, which is breakdown, retest, and then flush. Once we break these previous lows, next one will be this here, 36.86, 37.12. Now let's check intraday. I want to keep this so we can check later. So, oops, did it again? No, it's fine. It's definitely looking bearish, mostly with the daily pivot right there. And you also have this, the main weekly pivot is also above it. So we have a lot of resistance. If for any reason managed to go here, this could be a good short entry with the stop loss right above it if it breaks and hold. And this will be the first entry right here. If for any reason we push through, then look for a short around this area with either the stop loss right above it or the stop loss above this. Depends on how many shares you got in. If you just got a starter here, then thinking it can go here, but you can just cut it and then we short over there, in my opinion. So this is the line. Is looking very bearish if we break pre-market, and then we want to do like this, like we discussed it earlier. What else? We have AOS. I'm gonna mark this quarterly main pivot from last quarter, which was the central point. I'm gonna mark this zone here. we can mark this one here as well. So I mark this month's pivot, this quarter's pivot, this month and this month main pivots, and this quarter pivot over here. Why it went down like this? We had earnings here, but this is still reaction from earnings? Good Lord. This is one dump and a half. Bounce right off the monthly pivot. Funny. Coincidence? No. It's not a coincidence. Okay. So as of now, this reclaimed the main monthly pivot, which is right here, and reclaim the quarterly pivot. Backtest here, the monthly, and here, backtest the quarter here and here. So now we are trying to stay above this 45.90. Try to go under, but it hold. So we can definitely see more upside on this if it holds above 25.90. Looking for this zone here. So about $1 up. If we lose again this pivot, I'll be more bearish on it. So that's something to watch. But so far, it looks like he wants to push a little bit more. It sold off very aggressively, so it may have some more room to go before it rests a little bit and make a decision if he's gonna go down more or go back up. Let's see one thing. I don't know if I can consider this a trend though. Let me check. I don't know if this is a trend. Is it? Could be. You have here, here. So this could be a trend. Trying to. Okay. So trend-wise, if we can consider that a trend, it still have a lot of room to go. I would not be surprised if we retest the 50 level, which is the main yearly pivot. But we need to conquer those levels. And this is funny because these zones that we marked based on those quarterly and monthly previous pivots, next quarter is going to be a pivot. So that's going to be next quarter's main pivot, which is going to be a very important resistance. So that's something to watch for sure. So this zone is going to be important right here. Yeah, that's going to be the key zone. Now, intraday wise, we need to hold above 45.67 for a bullish week. So it would be nice if we can hold over here on the daily pivot, and which is in confluence with the previous monthly we marked. But if we go under a little bit and hold over here, I would not be too shocked or spooked on my long position. As long as this holds, you can give a little bit of room around here, 45.50. But if it goes, then we can see something like this. But ideally, if you want to see some more momentum, it's good to hold that main day pivot. So hold main pivot and then go above it to test. Next will be 46.62, and then that zone 46.87, 97. What else? Let's check Tesla. So Tesla has been like ping pong action on our pivots. It's just like loving those pivots. We call the bottom on the early pivot, and whoever grabbed calls there just made a ton of money on that. It moved already about 30 plus here, about $56 if I'm not mistaken. That's a lot, mostly if you got into options. But now it needs to, it held this back test here, and we need to see that push through. Watch for the 225 to 27.77. That's what we need to break this time. The downside line in the sand is going to be 209.20. And the upside is going to be, let me change this. The upside is going to be this zone over here, the 234.31, 238.88. That's going to be the key. Once we break that, it's just, for me at least, the way I trade is going to be clear skies to 255.77. We may see a little bit of a pullback and then push through from this here, around here. But this is going to be the magnetic point to 55.77. So it's trading below the main weekly pivot. So that's a resistance. So it needs to break this 223.62. So we are here, probably going to see a gap up. It needs to hold that, maybe a back test around over here. And then we push. Now, if we can get a dip here, it will be wonderful if you don't have a long position yet, around 219.79. Then watch for the confirmation of support, and then you write it up. Take a partial off of these highs here, 222.11, and then let's see if we can push through. Okay, let's check CAT. So I was watching CAT Friday for a short position. It was approaching this. I was waiting for this zone here to take it short. I didn't take it. I was not on my computer in the morning, I believe. I don't remember, but for some reason I didn't take it. But it worked. If anybody took it from what I wrote on the chat, they made some good money over there. Now it's trying to hold this here. If we hold here, we may see the retest or even a push through to this year's main pivot, 137.46, which is where it's the ideal point to take that short. Now this is a very strong zone here. I'll put the weekly chart so you can see. Let me remove the pivots for now. So these are the pivots we marked as the key resistances. So we have this zone here, If you can see all this action going on there. And then this will be the line in the sand to the upside right here, 137.46, this year's main pivot. So you can see breakout point, retest, breakout, retest, and then retest, fail. So this is going to be the main level to watch. But I was still going to watch for maybe scalp play on these zones over here. It depends how we open in the morning. Hopefully we open with a gap up directly there. It will be just wonderful. But not during pre-market, so we can take calls, right? Because that will be upsetting. Let's put back the pivots. Okay. Let me see. Monday. So this week's main pivot is 131.94. The Monday's main zone is right above that monthly pivot. It's 133.63, 133.90. So all of this is gonna be support if you trade it above it. 133.58 to 134.08, and all of this is gonna be resistance. So it's gonna be interesting to follow. It can either be a very good long or a very good short. So it's right at that point that you can make money in both ways. TNDM, okay. Long 65.90. Okay. Yeah, this one is looking a little bit more bearish than the other one you had position on. I'm gonna mark this quarterly pivot over here. This one. I don't want to mark it right. Okay. So we don't want it to go lower than 63, 62. I think that's already too far from your entry anyways. I really didn't like that we closed below that pivot. That's the main monthly pivot, which is a very important level. You can argue that it's still holding the trend. So keep an eye on it. You really want a quick reclaim on that pivot. Now, you see, where is it trading right now? Let me see. 65 spread. But the last trade was right here, 65.50. So it has this is going to be a very strong resistance if it's traded below it. So it's something to keep an eye on it, which is the 65.40, 65.81. You really need a reclaim of these levels here for a chance to go for more upside. So see how we retest if it can't hold here. If it was me, I would just cut it and wait for a dip lower to get in another long position. Let me check what else. Let's check everybody's sweetheart Disney. So we had a rejection on that yearly pivot once more. 1, 2, 3. Now, what is different now is that we want this to hold support above it, not on the bottom of the zone, but the top of the zone. It has the catalyst, so it can just open gapping up. So if it gaps up, I really would like to see a gap above this 141.21, and then something like this. I don't know if it can gap above the yearly, but that would be just amazing. The only thing is that it needs to hold the back test. If it gaps up above here and can't hold, then we can just see a lot of profit taken from people swinging from down here. So let me remove this real quick. It really needs to reclaim this 140.49, 140.21 for a chance to retest again the 143.19, 144.24. If we can break this, then our next key zone is going to be the 148, 150. Now let's see what in mid-level we have. Let's see, it's looking, this was before the catalyst. I don't know why it sold off like this, but it had a strong sell end of the day. So what we need to do, the main weekly is at 140.78. So if it doesn't gap up, which I doubt, but if it doesn't gap up, it really needs to reclaim here. So maybe a rejection here, a hold, and push. Something like this. Hold like this, something like this. Now, with the news, maybe we see a little gap up, about $1 or so. Then we need to hold this back test and push. Next levels will be this 142.97, 143.19. And if we manage to break that, we're going to test that 144.24, which is this line here. And the next one will be the 145.70, 147.90, and then we test the other monthly pivot at 148.83 and the quarterly 150s. But there's a long way to go from there. So just keep taking your partials on resistance, and so you buy yourself more time to keep holding your position. Okay. What else? So shorthand mentioned that the retailers have been on fire. So let's check some out. And this HD backtest was just awesome. Backtest and push through. TGT actually. Mark this yearly pivot right there. Which it rejected second try. This kind of looking more like a short setup. Remember that one that I like, push through, come down, test, can't hold, and then we go back down. So that's something to watch. TGT. Key level is going to be this 88.37 to the upside. Downside key level is going to be 87.22, 87.41. Then we're going to test this 86.29 and then go from there. Once we break this 84.27, that's what I call the doomsday level, where we can see a stronger pullback, maybe around this 82.48 around here. Upside, if we break this 89.80, we're going to have the 92 level. We have a midterm level at 90.34. And then over here, this zone. So KSS, we're still waiting for that reversal to happen. If you're waiting for a reversal, maybe this is the best time. Once we can reclaim here and hold, then we can ride $3, around $3 up. Then gonna be from here we can break and hold, and we retest this 53.56. Let me see where it can go from low. Let's put the 5 years. There you go, more information. Okay. We can see this is 2017's main pivot. Let's mark that. $47.64. So that's 2017's main yearly pivot. Let me remove this so I can see better. Which we're retesting right now. Kind of rejected first time right there. Now let's see what else we can gather from here. I kind of like this pivot. Okay, I found a little zone over here between these two quarterly main pivots here and here. Below that, we can mark this quarterly pivot. Then we can mark kind of like this one here. Man, my hand is shaky. Trying to. Okay. Right there. And from there, we have here this little zone and this zone. Okay. There's a bunch of downside over there. So it bounced from the quarterly pivots zone. We can say that's going to be our downside line in the sand. We really need to hold this. Okay, so bounce twice. Let's see if we can push through from here. You have this line. You see this wick, and this little wick here. They kind of go on the same spot. So let's mark a kind of little resistance, just resistance over here. Ideally, we wanted this to hold higher low here, and then have something like this push through. Now let's see what we got. That's just perfect. That line is this tomorrow's main zone right there. You can include our weekly main pivot to get a bigger zone if you want to. So we have 4707 to 4738 is going to be the key zone for this week. And right there, it's very close. Everything is so close. So it's going to provide you with a very low risk play. JMIA. So we finally reclaimed this 2424, which was a level we had marked for quite some time. I am marking over here as well, which is close of this candle on the IPO. Then we have all this here, 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 here. So that's going to be also an important level. You can have this as your doomsday line in the sand. So right now we have over here, I'm going to mark, I want this level as well. I'm not sure, right there. Right here. This close, this week, this gap up, this, all this. So 2679 will be the next resistance. Your entry is 2536 right here. Okay, so we have a lot of support over there, right around that line. We have the weekly pivot is 2462, and the tomorrow's main pivot is 2502. So even if we get a little drop over here, and this hold of support as a natural, maybe taking profits, the next resistance will be this 2637, 2674, 79, then 2686, just right about here. The 30, and once we break the 30, we will test that monthly main pivot. So it looks like it wants more upside as far as where it is right now. So that's what you have to keep an eye on, is of these lows here and this high over here. Okay, let me check the chat and see if we can find, if anybody asked me any other tickers. Check the plays real quick. Okay, let's check ROKU. Yeah, ROKU just left those pivots. It's just, this was that short recall, then it bounced from the pivot, went above to this pivot zone, went down, retest, went above it. It couldn't quite reach that 114. So the downside line is saying, I would say, is this 101.11. the upside, for any upside, needs to hold above this 103.45. So we have a little zone here that is no man's land. If it consolidates there, there's like a $2 up, $2 down situation. If we break this, I would really love it to see at this 96 level again, but it needs to break 99. So even if it breaks here, it still gives you about $2 for your first partial. And then you try to ride it at 20 to the 96 if you're looking for a short. So the main weekly is at 103, 103.97. You have a lot of overhead resistance right here. And then that weekly pivot. So if we don't gap up, this is going to be resistance. You can enter short here with the stop loss right above it. And you can try another short right around here on the weekly main pivot. And right from there, that if you go straight, if you push through on a vertical move like this, I will take a short here and cover right around here the partial, because it can just do something like this. Now if it start just to grind up, like let's say do a little here and then start to slowly squeeze on that resistance, I will not take a short on the first test. I'll wait for push through and then the pattern that breaks under the test and fails. I will only take a short here on the first push, violent push to that resistance. But so far as the way it's looking right now, I'm looking for more downside, maybe a retest of this 101.11. Upside only if we break above over here, 103.97. ACRX, okay. Let me put 5 years real quick. I want to mark this pivot here, right here. And I want to mark this over here, this pivot. Just trying to see if I find any reason. I'm gonna mark over here and on this one. Okay. It's trying to bounce off this previous lows over here. So there's too many lines. I really don't like too many lines, but I like to keep it clean. So you could say that it really needs to reclaim this pivot here. Otherwise, we can just resume the downside. Still doing lower highs. Just did a lower low from here to here, so it's definitely not looking ideal. So it needs to reclaim this 246, 253. Next one will be around here, 267. I'm wondering if this gonna go to 213 first before it resumes any upside. This week's main weekly pivot is 235. So it really needs to break above that. It's trading right on it. So you need to see a push through, hold, and go. That's at 242. If we break under this pivot, I would not be so happy about it. Do something like this and then can't right away reclaim. We may retest at 225. And if we can't hold that, then we retest the monthly that I mentioned, the 213. So keep it tight. Watch for that 246 retest. Stop 231. Let me check. Yeah, you can keep it tight. If you 231 could be a good one. Your entry is 233. That's a 2-cent stop loss. That's not bad at all. If it goes under, you can grab it cheaper. If it breaks above that resistance, you just can grab the continuation. Yeah, I like that plan. So let me know if you guys have any other ticker you want to check. We're about to wrap it up. While you guys think, I'm gonna check the futures real quick again. Yes. Kind of off on the same spot. Nothing changed. NG. So far reject that line over there, the EMA line. Still needs to stay above that 220-ish. Gold. It kind of went a little bit up. Needs to push through, still same scenario. And oil is looking better. Looks like he wants to test that zone. Let's see how it looks in the morning. And silver testing that resistance. So it holds so far. Let's see if we can push through. What is the NASDAQ? Is it ND? Yeah. I think it was ND. Maybe wrong. Looks like not. It says NASDAQ 100 futures, but it's not pulling anything. Q. Okay, any Q. Yep, any Q. So you hold this level that it really needs to hold. This back test here. Still trading I'm still on the fence on this. Let's see. This is the line descent right here, 77.19. That we need to keep an eye on it. There was something else. It was ROKU. And there was, oh, BYND. Oh, BYND. Almost forgot about that one. So as expected, on this second push, it couldn't do it. Right around that area. You see how the first push usually has that move back down to key pivots. We called the bearish on this one Friday, and it was very nice. Let me show you where we called that. So we were bearish on it as soon as it broke under this 184.83, which it's our favorite setup. Like we discussed, it push through, go under and can't hold, and it gives a nice short. And from that day on, it was a short on every pop. We had this as a short. We called pre-market, look at bearish because it couldn't break through. Then this one was the push to that same level. It couldn't go. And we had this also, this pivot here was in confluence with these lows over here, over here. So we really like that short as well. And it was just textbook from there. Once you broke under the main weekly pivot, short, 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 everything. Now, for next week, check, where is the main weekly pivot? The main weekly pivot is at 168.67. So we are still bearish until it breaks above and hold. From here to here is about 16 points, so it's not bad. Everybody that wish to follow the BYND trade, break and hold of here, 155. Then we can try this level over here, which is in confluence with this pivot zone. So we need to push through there to test right there. Downside, we're gonna be watching for, in terms of short, we want to see a rejection of these levels to short to 145, and then we look for a long entry if we can get over there. Let's check work. It's funny, we kind of did I missed this. I didn't notice it went down like that on Friday. We had that nice VWAP fade. This is a great setup. Every time you have that strong push down and a bounce on the VWAP, if I am watching, I always look to a short position. It provides you a very low risk. You can just cut it if it breaks up and holds above it, or find like a strong previous support as your stop loss, like over here. 39 could be a good stop loss. You're risking about 70 cents to make 38.60. $1.40. If you take it on a pivot, it would be $1.40. So that's one. I really like those setups as well. For Monday, next week's main weekly pivot is going to be 38.61. Let me get more chart. 38.61, which is going to be in confluence with all this resistance over here. I don't know if you guys can see. Let me mark 28.61. Can be roughly, doesn't need to be exactly, but if you guys can see here, this push through, break under, reclaim, retest, push through. Then we came here and we did like this. Look right there. And so that will be a key level for the week. Right now it's on a bearish note. Starting the week on a bearish note. This is going to be resistance right there. So for long, it needs to break and hold. Either you break and hold or you get it. You see if it holds the 35 as support. So go over here, see if you hold support, and then you can ride, take a partial at 38, this 38 area here, and then you see if you can ride more, maybe towards the 40. This also 39, 60, 40 is going to be a rough area. So that's to watch. Let me keep this line so I can check Monday. If we lose this 35, it is a possibility we go to 33. So that's going to be rough. If we lose 33, 30 is next. So if you can short, like if you trade CFDs or your broker has shorts, or you, we have to see if puts are available Monday. Watch for a rejection over here. Don't try to predict it's going to reject. See if it can push and then confirm the downside with something like this. That will be the short side of it. Now, if you want to go long, watch for the push, hold, and go. Something like this. Or grab down here. That will be the plan, long and short for it. Okay. All right, guys. That's it for the day. I wish you a great week. And see you tomorrow, 7 a.m.